Just show. I'm the Trev. It's too sweet. Anyway, Toronto has a new GM. Let that sink in for a minute. It's not just any GM. It's Calgary's old GM. Brad Treliving. It's the newest general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. You can either laugh or cry, feel sorry for the guy, but this could be interesting. Let's talk about it. So Brad Treliving, yes, I'm saying it right this time, comes to Toronto just over a month after parting ways with the Calgary Flames, which we talked about here. Now Treliving comes in 12 days removed after the Maple Leafs and former GM Kyle Dubas agreed to mutually part ways, which we talked about here. So this officially makes Treliving the 18th Maple Leafs general manager in team history. Now, before this, again, GM in Calgary for 9 seasons, where the Flames went 362, 265, and 73 under Treliving, making the playoffs 5 times of the 9 seasons he was there, as well as making it past the first round 3 times. So he's made the second round more than the current iteration of the Leafs has. Sink that in for a bit. So obviously he comes in with the experience, which is what the Maple Leafs wanted from the get-go. So I guess there's a couple of big questions that would go on with Treliving in Toronto. One, how are you going to handle Toronto media? The Toronto media is not the Calgary media. Let's just say that. I mean, it's not Edmonton. I mean, Edmonton's goalie killers, but, the Toronto media can be pretty heavy. Question number 2. This guy. What's the question with him? Is there plans on signing him immediately? Or are you just going to try and wait? So I guess by extension, if this is question number 2, what becomes of the core 4? With or without Matthews? Guarantee there has to be a change because, Matthews isn't the only contract expiring, and then you've got Tavares and Marner expiring next year. You're in for a world of something. I guarantee it. But I think the biggest question, and the one that should ultimately deserve the best answer, what do you do to get past the second round of the playoffs? Now that you've finally made it past the first round, how do you plan on getting past the second? And does it involve shaking up the core 4? This sounds like like I'm repeating the question, but it really is 2 separate questions. And we're still not far removed, back to the Matthews thing, we're still not far removed from the last superstar Treliving had to trade off that he didn't want because the guy didn't want to sign. Look at that guy now. He's playing the Stanley Cup Finals. He could be a Conn Smythe finalist. Just throwing that out there, right? And how'd Calgary do on that one? Well, not so good, right? So, knowing that, one has to really wonder what's going to happen in the next year or 2 at least. Because, you don't want to trade away the best thing on your team, but you don't want to get hosed and get nothing for it, right? So hopefully they're talking, Matthews and the Maple Leafs. Hopefully they're talking, because they kind of need to if the Toronto plans on being successful anytime soon. Not to say that Toronto lives and dies by Matthews, but having a guy like Matthews on your team really does help, especially when Matthews is dialed right in. But again, that biggest thing has to be the playoff bubble. Now that you finally made it past round 1, how do you keep your team going, much less keep your core guys productive for rounds 2, 3, and possibly 4? Now, I don't want to say I'm trying to predict the future and say that's not going to happen. I'm not going to try and predict the future at all. Because, time will tell all things in this move. And again, for Treliving, going out of Calgary, coming into the pressure cooker that is Toronto, and if you thought they were bad with Dubas, oh my goodness. Let's hope Treliving doesn't make a wrong move, right? But either way, this could be really good or really bad for Toronto. We'll just see how it goes, right? So let me know your thoughts on Treliving being named general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's Trev's Hockey Show. Well, thank you for tuning in. don't think I don't appreciate the gesture, especially if you're right here. And if you are, thank you very much. I do appreciate it very, very much. But since you're here, give me a like. I think I've earned it. That red button that says subscribe all over it. Come on, if you haven't considered it yet, it's holding you back. Hit it up. We're going for 250. It'll make you feel good. That link to the social I never use, it's in the description down below. Let's move forward. Tomorrow, barring any more of the Personel Carousel, I've at least got 2 videos for you. And they are related to the Stanley Cup Finals. So there's that. But either way, in the meantime, be looking for more videos from Trev. Later.